So the first thing I want to start off with is just to talk to you each about, and as a group, what you were thinking about and how the scenarios went with selecting an attorney. I know that the scenarios were made up and they may not reflect any personal life experiences that you've had, but just kind of talk to me about that process and how it went.
For me, I simply just typed in the scenario into the search engine, and actually the first one that came up was someone that I was familiar with through advertising, and then I went through 2 others, and just personally it was based on the quality of the website, I guess.
Okay.
So probably I would have gone with the first one simply because I had heard of them and would want to know if what they advertise, if their services were as advertised.
Okay. Anybody else want to share their experience and what they found on the internet and how they selected the attorney?
I like that my selection had videos on there, so I got to know the attorney more than just through a picture. So he had videos as why I should select him and examples of other cases that he had won.
Was there a video on there that reflected the scenario in your sheet, or was it just a general welcome video?
Nope. It was, I had an auto accident case and it was an auto accident video.
Okay.
Okay.
Mine was on a surgery, and I put in personal injury, so maybe that was what happened, but I was unable to find any, it was difficult to find anything that said that that type of personal injury was their specialty. And so I just ended up going with the most professional looking website with a person's name on it that I kind of related to. And I went through quite a few websites.
And you did find one at some point that at least
that was professional enough that I felt that it was
issue?
something. Yes, they actually did
Okay.
say surgery or tripping accidents and surgery or whatever. Yes.
Though it didn't come up in your initial search.
That is correct.
Okay, gotcha. And Sam?
Yeah, I had the same experience. At first I had a little bit of trouble. I didn't type in Colorado, so of course I got all sorts of crazy stuff. But my scenario had to deal with a truck driver who was an independent contractor, and the company he worked for was saying we're not liable. So I did find a website where it specifically talked about accidents with trucks. So I figured I could at least go and talk to them, and they might have some experience with that kind of a case, and at least let me know, yeah, what they're saying is not true, or what they're saying is true. We can probably help you, but it might be more difficult than you think. But I was looking for something that fit my scenario.
Okay.
Mine was specific to a motorcycle accident in Fort Collins. So I found that just using those search terms, Fort Collins and motorcycle accidents, I found a very specific attorney that just dealt with motorcycle accidents. And I liked that he showed, like right up front on the first page, he talked about his fees and his policies, and that's why I chose his.
My scenario was in Orange County, California. So I immediately thought, oh, well, cool, then I don't have to look at the people that I see advertised here. So I actually searched and dug a little bit because some of the websites I found first had like cheesy graphics of like someone in a wheelchair or next to a car that had been hit, and it just looked really cheesy. So what I wanted was, who is this person I would be talking to? And then I can ask him the questions, I'll make a list is kind of what I was thinking in my mind of the people I would want to talk to ask them the questions about what's going on with my case, as opposed to just, this is who I'm going with,
Let's see. This was new for me because I've never searched for or used a lawyer before. So I just put in. I got hit by a FedEx truck when I was crossing the street. So I just put in. The terms of personal injury, lawyer, hit by car, and then I was in Seattle, so the city. And then I just went for some of the ones higher up, in that little Google box, and I found a website that looked really nice, and on one of their taglines on their name, when I clicked on it, it said something like 15,000 successful cases or something like that. So, and then they had a nice website and showed their faces on the opening page. So I went with that one.
And was it 15,000 completed cases or successful cases something like that?
Yeah.
Caught your attention that was a positive thing or a negative thing?
Well, positive, because
Okay.
it meant that they had a lot of experience. So.
Okay, excellent.
How many of you had a scenario that involved an insurance company or some kind of contact with an insurance company? 3, 4 of you. Someone had said that they were looking to verify what the insurance company said. Does that seem like a normal reaction that you would do no matter what the scenario? If you were involved in an accident, an insurance company contacted you, is what they tell you something that you generally take at face value, or is your instinct when dealing with an insurance company to verify it, even if it's your own?
Verify.
Verify.
Definitely
Yeah.
verify.
Where would you go try and verify what an insurance company is telling you?
With someone who actually deals with insurance companies. Like, I've actually been in an accident, an auto accident, where the insurance company was telling me this is all we're going to give you flat out.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that sounded really ridiculous.
Mhm.
And so I needed to find out what's the real truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started finding a lawyer for myself.
Now, would you trust what a lawyer said on their website as the truth?
I wanted to talk to them personally for
Oh,
me.
personally.
Just because I want to know if I can tell if you're kind of giving me the runaround.
Mhm. Anybody else have any feelings on?
I was looking for a free consult.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I was looking for. If you're not willing to at least talk to me for free at the beginning, then I'm less interested.
Mm-hmm.
So always find out, because that's insurance companies. That's how they make their money, is to give you the lowest possible amount of money they can. So.
Right.
I was looking for free consultation as well, because in my scenario I didn't have medical insurance. So if I didn't have medical insurance, I probably didn't have a lot of money. So therefore I wasn't going to pay someone $325 an hour just to find out if I had a case or not.
True.
And then also I was looking for someone who'd work on a contingency, because if I didn't have a case, then I'm not going to spend hourly to find out if I had a case, then find out that I don't, and then I've spent $2,000 to find out that I don't have $2,000.
Right, exactly.
So
By a show of hands, how many of you here know what a contingency fee is? Okay. So 3 of you don't. But someone who raised their hand, tell me what a contingency fee is.
Isn't it basically we're not compensated unless we win?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So it could be a 2-year timeline for a settlement, and then the fee would be subtracted through the net proceeds of the settlement, or whatever the gross proceeds.
Right. And does anyone know what an attorney takes as a contingency fee?
Like the percentage?
Yeah. Or if it is a percentage, or is it a flat fee? What do you think?
I have heard more than once that it's in the neighborhood of 35%.
Okay.
So if it's $1 million settlement, they get $350,000,
Okay.
for example.
Wow.
that varies. I thought it varied per attorney and per
Mine was
case.
about
So
30%.
I thought it was 20%.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it varied too, but the one that I had was about 30%.
Would you want to know right away? What the, I
Yes.
mean, would the amount of the contingency fee matter to you? Would you use that as a selection criteria over other factors that you've indicated in your survey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what your emotional state is at the time. Sometimes you might just say, fine, whatever, just get it done.
Mm-hmm. Or even how much you intend to, if it's like personal injury, how much are you thinking you might have to go through all of these different physical therapies or whatever, for how long? And if that's going to run out within 2 years, then yeah.
I just have one final question before we move on to the next thing that we're going to talk about. In each of the scenarios that you read, I know that there was some sort of prompt at the bottom to seek an attorney, or that was the task that we had assigned to you. But in reading those scenarios, do you think that if you were faced with that particular scenario that you read, that you would seek the advice of an attorney? Or did that appear to you like something that you may not be interested in seeking the advice of attorney on?
Seeking an attorney.
Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely would too.
I would have had to. I had to have surgery right away as soon as I had this accident, and it was like over $200,000, and they were only giving me $10,000. I would feel like I had no other option.
Okay.
Mine was only $2,000. I would not have looked for an attorney for that amount, because I felt the fee would probably be that much anyway, so.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't know if I would have, because I bought this Harley Davidson, and maybe I didn't update my insurance, because if the insurance company was only giving me $500, but the bike was worth $15,000, then it could be my fault that I didn't have the right coverage. So I don't know if I even had a case.
Okay.
Really.
And I would have. In my scenario, my wife was an orthopedic surgeon, and she was going to be able to return to work. So we would definitely need to be compensated for all that lost wages or lost salary.
Okay.
They killed
Thank
my
you.
mother.
I'm so
Seriously, in your
sorry.
scenario?
So I was going to lawyer up. If I could use that expression.
I want to talk about the considerations that you guys have put on your sheet as far as those things that you listed that you think would be important personally when you're selecting an attorney. And we kind of talked about that when we went through the scenarios that, we just went through how you selected an attorney. But I'd like to talk more specifically about those considerations that you have, those things that you think are important, and where do you find that on a website? What is it that tells you that a person has a good reputation, or that whatever it is that you have a consideration for, what is it that you're specifically looking for or would indicate that to you based on a person's website?
Maybe what we're saying is how could an attorney represent his or her reputation on a website? What information would you expect to see? Skill level, contingency fee, all of those things we talked about. What would you, go ahead.
In talking about experience or track record, maybe testimonials or referrals to people who've had good experiences. I might even go to like the state bar association and see if you can find out, first you want them to be in good standing, and see if they've written any papers or done any type of, documented professional research or papers that they might have written, things like that.
Mine were experience and depth within the organization, so there isn't just like one person there. And I would look to a compilation of photo and summary of the experiences of each one of the attorneys in the office on a page, so that you could tell, is this the first case that this person has had? And if so, and that happens to be the one that you're assigned or whatever, is there somebody that they can talk to that has more experience than that, so that you've got the depth of experience?
Well, I put reputation, and I guess I'm not sure exactly how you would see that from a website, but I guess what I was saying earlier about how many, that it said a number of how many successful cases they had 15,000 that had caught my eye, and I agree with what you were saying, the testimonials, any sort of awards or anything showing, their level of past cases won.
Okay. Somebody wrote down trustworthy, and I'd really like to talk about that word and see, is there something that you would see on a website that would indicate to you or make you feel that this person was trustworthy? Or on the flip side, is there something on a website that you may see that would make you feel that this person is not trustworthy?
I saw something on my site. He put in his bio area where it was his picture, and then it talked about when he graduated, how long he's been practicing, how many cases he had won. There was something about his family where he wrote, he lives with his wife and his 2 daughters or something, and that to me was sort of like giving a little bit of personal information, so they seem like a person and not just someone who's knows more than you. And so that felt trustworthy to me.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other days about trustworthiness?
I think, like you said, if you see them on billboards and have kind of cheesy TV ads, or if you look at their website and there's a lot of flashy graphics, and I've seen some websites that just look totally unprofessional and look like they should be on, late night TV or something. So to me, that wouldn't equate trustworthiness.
I think it's important to have a picture of the person or the video, like I mentioned before, as to who you're going to be working with. I don't know how that relates to trustworthiness a little bit with me, because you get a feeling from a person when you're seeing their picture, and it helped even further when there was a video as well, because sometimes you just meet somebody and you're like, you know what, we just don't mesh. It's not that they're a bad person or that I don't like them, we're just not going to click. And so by seeing a video, it helped to know that, you know what, I can talk to this person.
I think, I guess I'm having a hard time just discerning between trustworthiness and professionalism, because I know that essentially they're not the same thing in terms of how that person would interact with me once I'm a client. But I think if it's someone's first take on a website, then the more professional it is, the more appearance of trustworthiness you get. Because there was 2 that I looked at that were very corny, and that probably is going to appeal to a certain type of person who needs an attorney, but not for someone like me. If it's professional, you know, a serious demeanor, not walking up the steps to the Capitol, you know, kind of video on the website. I mean, yeah.
Yes.
I would disagree also with the testimonials. To me, a testimonial is something that they have actually kind of orchestrated. And then on the flip side, the one that I looked at had a testimonial that was grammatically incorrect. And I know that you can't, it's probably hard in the legal profession to change the words, but that was, it indicated to me a type of person that you're right, that clientele would have attracted, and that I didn't feel like that was me, or was not the one that I wanted to. So I think testimonials you got to be really careful with.
So do you think that there are different kinds of clientele that look for different kinds of attorneys?
Oh, yes.
Certainly.
Okay, let's talk about that. How would you divide clientele, and let's start there. How would you divide a certain type of clientele?
Well, from the ones that I see on television that are like every other commercial break during the day, it seems like it's all about now, and big money now. And it seems like a false hope to someone who really believes that that's really going to happen for them. And so I think I've been around long enough to know the world doesn't necessarily work that way, and it's not going to be as quick and easy.
So what kind of clientele do you think that they're trying to attract?
Someone who is impatient and thinks that it's like winning the lottery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or someone that, I see it as people who are legitimately hurt, either emotionally or physically, and then there are those who may not be actually hurt emotionally, but think that they can really kind of worm their way in and get somebody that's going to kind of bend the rules a little bit and manage to get them some money.
Yes, if you think along the lines of demographics, it's well, how much can I get out of this versus what's the greater service that could be done here? I know that something wrong has happened. I don't care necessarily what the money is. I just want the wrong to be right. Versus, well, McDonald's burnt my lip, and let's see how much money I can get for burning my lip. Or my lap, or whatever. Yeah. I think that kind of mindset, I mean, it's putting a very broad spectrum on that, but I think you break that along demographic lines.
What kind of terminology do you think attorneys who are looking for those kinds of clients would use?
What do you mean by those kind?
Those kind that you identified as clients who were looking for quick money, who were impatient and perhaps wanted more than just to be returned to the state they were before.
We settle fast.
Okay.
Yeah, they tend to have nicknames that you can refer to them as.
Okay.
It's cheesy.
All right.
They show up at your door with a large check.
Yeah, well, like the lottery, like the.
You want the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah.
Any other kind of language you would expect to find on an attorney's website who was looking to attract clients that wanted a quick buck?
Well, I think it would not have things like a relationship, because I think for the most part, like for my scenario, it would take a long time to get to the end of that. And that lawyer would have to, or that law firm would have to develop a relationship with my family. And they would have to understand that we're not going to settle fast. This is going to take a long time. And they would be a little more understanding of our situation, and it wouldn't be just trying to get us some money. Like they are trying to help us navigate this system.
So questions. That seems to be how a billboard headline is. Question, or have you blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just think of like, get what you deserve.
Good point.
As bad or as positive or negative, it turns you on or off to get what you, if you see
Well-
get what you deserve as a
Well, you're-
statement.
Well, you were talking about like the clientele who
Mhm.
want, fast money,
Mhm.
or like you said, burn their lip and just want to get some money.
Mhm.
So, I would see on a website, we will get you what you deserve.
The sense of
type
entitlement
thing.
kind
Right,
of thing.
right.
Okay.
But you kind of like society owes you type of thing, instead of justice,
We-
justice will be served.
You get a sense probably from the attorney. I can think for a personal example. My mom got to the bottom of a soda can and there was a spider in it.
Oh.
A dead spider. And I was, at the time I was a teenager, I'm like, you got to talk to a lawyer. But, experiences served that probably a lawyer would be like, I'm not going to take that case. It's the type of professional, trustworthy lawyer that, that I would be looking for. But someone who's like, you get what you deserve. Spiders don't belong in our soda cans.
Let's talk about, somebody wrote down the word competence, that you that was an important part of selecting an attorney, important consideration. Let's kind of go through that same analysis with what you see and what's advertised to you as positive or negative for showing somebody's competence as an attorney.
Well, I think it'd be hard to do off of a website. Again, I'm just looking for them to be willing to let me come in and talk to them, and not necessarily they're not trying to just get volume, like just get people in there. Just somebody really wants to talk to me and see like, can we work together on this?
Well, and volume over the years of how long they've been practicing versus
Right. Yeah.
because like the 15,000 cases that have been successful, I'd want to compare that to how long they've been practicing for their competence.
I was just thinking maybe ask them, how many cases have you worked on and how many have you successfully won? Maybe look at the numbers.
Okay. There are a lot of different ways that are advertised to talk to an attorney. And I'd like to know, what is it that when you're looking for an attorney, how would you feel the most comfortable talking to an attorney? Emailing through a website, making a phone call, having an in-office meeting? Where's your level of comfort as far as how you can have that talk with the attorney, that meeting? How does it take place in your mind?
Well, I think obviously it would start. I don't know how much emailing I would want to do back and forth. It would probably start with a phone call, and then you can get quite a bit from that, how the phone call goes and how professional they sound. But I would definitely want a face-to-face.
And let me
meeting.
also ask, as you answer, if you would consider live chat over the internet. If a window popped up and said, you could talk to us right now too if you'd like. So in your answers, on a website you can email, you can fill out a form, you can make a phone call, and nowadays you can do live chat. So in your answer, assess, which of those you would choose, maybe in which order and why.
Well, yeah, I think those are all great options that help save time and can help you make your selection on which lawyer you're going to choose quicker. So I've never considered the live chat option, but that would be good. I mean, the best way would be a face-to-face, sit-down discussion with the person. But I think I think probably email the last, and then try face-to-face or the chat over the website.
I wouldn't even consider email. I would call to see if I could have an appointment face-to-face. The web chat to me, especially if it's like, talk to you now, that feels a little too like, well, what are you doing with your time that you're just sitting there waiting to talk to me? I'd rather feel like you have a specific time between all of your other cases that you want to talk to me personally, as opposed to I'm just sitting here waiting. So I think face-to-face I would definitely need.
I think chat would not be good. I wouldn't know who it was. It could be a secretary using the same name. There's no verification at all. I think you're right. I wouldn't want someone who was able to chat with me. I mean, they have a better use of their time. So I would call.
I don't think they'd want to live chat with me with 2 small children at home. Because that would just be too crazy, and I can barely have a phone call or a phone conversation. So I think initially I would probably use email and maybe ask some initial questions that I want to present to them, and then of course meeting them in person would be ideal.
And when you say live chat, do you mean like an instant messaging thing or like a Skype thing?
Like sometimes now when you go on any website for any service, a window will pop up and say, hey, if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, you can type them in here, or we could also talk right now if you'd like, just like an IM. So I mean, you can do that on
Talking meaning typing.
type, right? Yeah. Not like Skype chatting, but like type chatting, instant messaging.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that or email, so that I could kind of give them an idea of where I'm coming from, and then just sort of see how they respond to me. But then I would definitely want a face-to-face from there. But that would help me if I was looking at a couple different sites. I could email all 3 of them or 4 of them, and then when they call me back, like same thing when I try to get a plumber, I'll through whatever, what's it called?
Service Magic.
Like Service Magic, I'll tell them like, this is my situation, and then when they call back, and if they know what I'm talking about, like, oh, I know how I'd fix that, blah, blah, blah. But if it seems like I'm talking to a secretary, like you said, like, well, what do you think of this situation? Well, I don't really know. Well, I'm like, well, then I'm not so interested in you coming out. Because if you don't, I really want to talk to somebody who I know knows what they're doing. And it'd be the same thing with a lawyer. I'd want to actually talk to someone who knew something about the law before I came in and talked to them face to face.
Mine really relates to the time of day that I would be doing the searching, which has to kind of be brought into this because I'm not home during the day. And after work, it's kids and house and everything else. So my searching is going to happen at like midnight. On a weeknight at midnight, that's when I'm doing this. So live chat may not apply to me, but even if it did, I don't know that I would communicate that way because, again, I don't know who it is and what their experience level is and what the value of the information that they're giving me. I can't decide who that is. So for me, it's going to be maybe emailing through the contact us and then monitoring their response. If they get back to me a week later, it's like, you know what, you don't have time for me or you don't care. So I might email, through the contact us tab, like 3 or 4 of them, and then kind of keep track of who got back to me, and then there's a phone call, and then it's meeting in person.
That's good.
I just, from where I'm comfortable, it would be telephone. I could use the website to get more information about the attorney office, but my preference would be just to call someone first.
About the calls, because we've talked a lot about making calls to an attorney's office. When you make a call to an attorney's office, who do you expect that you want to talk to about a potential case that you're bringing to that firm? Who do you want to hear on the other end of the line? Do you want to hear if the call comes into a receptionist, obviously, do you want to talk to the receptionist? Do you want to tell, what's your comfort level as far as who you're talking to?
But knowing how those offices are set up, that it's not likely an attorney is waiting for calls like that. It would be just for me personally, it would be with the understanding that if they're not available then, that they would call me to follow up. Knowing the expectation being that the receptionist is going to take the call, and I would ask her who is available to answer these types of questions.
I would also talk with the receptionist and try to determine how many. Again, this would be the experience and the depth of attorneys. Is there one person only that could do this, or are there 2 or 3, whatever? So find out a little bit more about the firm, and then who they would recommend would be the one, and then then I would probably want to set up an appointment with that person. A phone call would not be of any help at that point in time. I think I would need to have the appointment.
I have a quick question. I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like you all to close your eyes. Okay, everyone's eyes closed? All right. If you would prefer to work with a big firm, raise your hand. If you would prefer to work with a small firm, raise your hand.
Can you define small?
1 attorney, 2 attorneys. Okay, that's all. You can open your eyes. Thanks.
I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about our focus today from the time that you guys started, and the first exercise we did was to get online and to find an attorney to help you with a particular scenario. And then we've talked about website images and this type of advertising. Personally, as you sit here right now, how do you think, if you were to leave here and need the services of an attorney, how would you go about finding that attorney? We've directed you for a particular reason today for this focus group, but leaving the website and all the other things aside, how do you think that you would go about it? Just if that was a personal need that you had.
And you can say using the internet if that's how you would, if you don't know a lawyer.
Yeah.
I think I would start with personal references
Absolutely.
from friends.
Mhm.
Have you ever had this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Word of mouth, or even if I were seeing doctors related to this kind of thing, who would they trust? Who would they think? And that sounds kind of strange, but professionals working with professionals.
Mm-hmm. I would even go so far as I belong to a couple of listservs that are local, and I would put out there, has anybody had experience with this type of attorney, and who would you recommend? And then from there, I'd make my list and do my research. And then I'd go to the web.
Yeah, then look at their site.
Okay.
I think if I was looking for a large practice, I think I might go to, say, like the Denver Business Journal, who does the top law firms,
Mm-hmm.
and look at those. And like I said before, the Colorado Bar Association, they might break lawyers down into different specific groups or experience. I would do all that probably over the internet.
I'm more of a private person, so I wouldn't put out there to anybody. It's like, hey, who knows a personal injury attorney? Because I don't want everyone knowing my business. So, I mean, even some close friends wouldn't know that I was seeking the advice of an attorney. So for me, it's internet. It's starting on the internet, doing my own research.
Sam?
I would probably, I would ask friends, and then I would also go to the internet and just maybe try to get a short list, and then talk to those attorneys.
Spencer?
From my personal experience, I know enough people that are attorneys. I mean, and to be honest, I don't know what their specific field is, but I know that they've come out of law school and have sought jobs, so they know people who would do whatever I would need. I would start there first.
Of those of you who answered that you would look for a referral first, that the internet would not be your first choice, after that referral, would the first thing you do would be go look at their website?
Definitely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
After you looked at their website, would there be any other place? Some of you had mentioned Colorado Bar Association. Would there be any other place that you would go look for information about that attorney other than the initial referral and then their website? Would you continue further with the Colorado Bar, or would that referral on the website be enough, or would you want to just check the Better Business Bureau, or would you just be good at the website and the referral?
I'd be good at the website
Me
and the
too.
referral.
I
I'd
would
need to
too.
just start talking to them.
I'd go to a website, and a firm may have a lot of different attorneys in it, so I wouldn't call and ask, who do you recommend? Because the person at the answers the phone might recommend the guy that's the least busy, who needs some cases. So I would research them on my own on the website, and then I would Google their name and see what else is out there about them.
That's a good point.
And I don't know with this industry, I know with other, in the industry I'm in that works with salons, there's websites that you can go to and see how they rank and see what comments people have made about them. I don't know if that speaks to this type of business, but I don't know if there's anything else that can help me
Like ratings?
put them
Or ratings?
against each other, or what people had said about them. Maybe looking for something like that too.
I'd be an entrepreneurial business for some attorney.
Do you think lawyers should advertise?
I think there were years and years and years where they didn't, and they were working.
I think it demeans the whole industry. I'm appalled, totally appalled.
It's just like when you see when drug companies advertise for
Yes.
their
Right.
drugs for
Or funerals.
restless leg syndrome or something like that. It just really makes me mad. We shouldn't be bombarded. But I guess every person that's in business wants to advertise their business and probably has a right to. But then it's almost one of those things where we should seek out if we need one.
Does anybody have an opposite feeling? lawyers should be able to advertise.
It speaks to the level of ambition for those firms, and knowing that through their advertising they have probably helped more people, but at the same time profited that much more through. I mean, because there's no broader way to get your name out there. So, from a truly business standpoint of it, it just makes sense.
It makes sense that they should advertise.
Yes, I mean if they have the means to do so, and yeah, they're not going to cater to everyone, but they'll get enough people in there to do what they want to do.
I feel like because there are so many that are over dramatized and like the quick cash and that kind of thing, that the ones that there's another one in my mind where I'm seeing this guy who he's trying to be really professional, and he gives out his personal cell phone number, and I'm like, well, okay, but because all of this came before you, it feels sort of like a knee-jerk reaction for those others who are trying to just get into the market because these guys are. It feels like they don't realize they've been tainted by the over-dramatized ones, and no matter what, they're going to look just as crazy as the others do.
I feel that they should be able to advertise, because I think there is a demographic that may not have a computer at home, a laptop. They watch TV a lot. They might have a cell phone, but they might not have as much education. So that might be the only, referral that they get is, oh, well, here's a lawyer, I need one.
Yeah.
I look at it as a very big picture, in that there are probably too many attorneys in this world, and therefore they have to advertise, and as they advertise, then people become, oh, hey, I did that, I could get some money from that, and it becomes a very litigious society, and I think that's sad.
I think what you said I agree with is that because there's been most of the commercials we think of for lawyers on TV don't represent lawyers very well, and so it's difficult to, we already are thinking in our mind of those kinds of commercials when we think of a TV commercial for a lawyer.
Can you name any of those lawyers?
Oh yeah, of course I can.
Frank Azar.
Frank Azar, Brian the Bulldog Moore, whatever his name is.
Salaya Law Firm.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, I spoke to the legitimacy of the business of that. I would personally not choose to use any of those attorneys.
But I think of that Anderson, Hemet, and Levine, and I actually think he has some pretty good commercials. I mean, they're compassionate and they're relatively professional looking, and to me, I don't think he's like a Frank Azar type attorney, even though I've never had to call him.
So do you recognize that there are two different styles in attorney advertising, or does it all seem to be the same?
No, there's
I
not
think
different
it's
styles.
different. There's a difference.
But I'm still turned off either way.
And the whole point is that everybody wants to sue everybody. That's what this all comes down to.
If they advertise too much and it's all you hear over and over and over, it's like, are you that desperate?
Yeah.
So I think there can be tasteful.
The attorneys seem desperate?
Yes, there can be tasteful advertising, but when it gets to be too much, then it becomes distasteful, even if it's a good commercial.
Right.
And the ones that advertise a lot, are they going to charge more because so much more of their bottom line is spent on commercials and all the advertising? I don't know.
Okay, so what do you think is important that we should know about lawyer marketing and advertising? What are some things that maybe we haven't brought up that you wanted to mention, whether it was during the search or while you're having your bagel or that the coffee wasn't hot enough?
Cut the bagels.
Cut the bagels, okay. Anything, ultimately we will be distributing this information to the legal community to give them an idea of the consumer's perception of advertising and marketing, what's attractive to them and what's not, and how they can, maybe improve their appearance online, or if they choose to do television commercials, they'll know a little bit more about what the information that people want. What else should they know that we haven't covered?
The websites need to be simple, but I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Not too busy.
It's simple.
I think all of it should be simple. I don't think you're trying to entertain someone if you are going to advertise on television. It's It's about what is your message, what's your philosophy, the same types of things you're going to put on a website or in a print ad. And in a very personal way, not just these are the facts and I'm robotic lawyer guy.
Yeah, definitely adding a personal touch is you know, extremely important. You're not just looking at, like you said, the facts or the I've done this case, you know, this number of cases, I've won this. You have to add that personal element.
If the law is the law, okay, the laws are written and they're to be followed, how can one attorney be better at it than the other?
Their personality, I think.
Charisma.
It becomes personal at that point.
Presentation. Attention to detail.
Yeah. I was just thinking of diligence.
Yeah, exactly.
Diligence.
Not being just another case number. Are they going to work for you? Like, do they genuinely care about what you need to have done?
And I do think there is the because I remember your case took a long time. Just to kind of give you, like, I know I haven't called you in a while, but that's because nothing's happening, but that is very normal, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on and sort of prepare you for that. You know, like, you're not going to get a bunch of money in a month. You're not going to settle fast. I mean, I can try and settle faster, but these are ramifications. You know, being very clear about the trade-offs you're going to have and giving us some choice.
Kirsten said that she's been in a car accident, sounds like with some sort of litigation. Has anyone else been involved in any kind of litigation? Has anyone else filed a lawsuit? You filed a lawsuit or had a lawsuit filed against you?
Which would we say? It was a divorce and custody issue.
Okay.
I don't know which way. Both.
You were
ways,
involved in?
ways.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anything that you learned from dealing with both those, I'm assuming, was your divorce?
Yes, I absolutely. Number one, that's why the depth thing, and to make sure that this brand new attorney was talking with the people, and he didn't, and he missed. And when we went to the appeals court, they said, and I heard him say, keep your brief to 1 page, and he was at 2, and they nailed him for that. And I said afterwards, why did you do that? He said, well, why didn't you check with me, you know, when you saw it? And it's just like, you know, those little attention to details made a huge difference. So.
What kind of scenarios in your mind would have to happen for you to approach an attorney? How bad would things have to get? And what do you think is bad? We gave you some scenarios to work off of, but, you know, have any of you been in car accidents? Let's ask that question. Anyone been in a car accident?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone had to was the car accident your fault or someone else's fault?
Both. Different accidents, obviously.
You had 2 different accidents and 2 different experiences. So in the instance in which it was not your fault, did you feel that you understood clearly the terms of your agreement with the person who was at fault with their insurance company?
In that instance, the insurance company wasn't involved.
Okay.
We just had cash.
Okay. Anybody been involved in a car accident where they had to deal with an insurance company that wasn't theirs? Okay. And how was that experience?
You know, I'm sorry. I honestly don't know. I was in the hospital and my dad dealt with it, but so I don't know. Sorry.
It's okay. What do you think when I say the word lawsuit? What comes to mind?
It scares the crap out of me.
To have to
Don't have
file one, or to have one
don't
filed?
have to go that far. It
Time,
seems,
money.
Yeah. Headache, worry,
Emotional distress. Emotional distress. Yeah. And you don't know. I mean, you just don't know whether you're going to win or not. You just don't. Or whether it's going to, you know, make you whole financially or whatever. So it's just scary.
Yeah, the experience that I have with attorneys has been more on a personal level, similar to like family law, if it's a custody, if it's, you know, adoption, that type of thing. That's the only experience I personally can work off of. I've managed small businesses before. I mean, I can think I had the lady was very dramatic, and it was something that I knew that I personally would not be held liable for, but it was such a minor thing that when she brought that up, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, you know, but I you know, at that time would have gone wherever I needed to.